We begin by telling you that the Federal Executive Council has approved the ratification of Nigeria's membership of the International Coffee Organization. Also approved is a new national policy on plastic waste management, as well as a bill for the establishment of the Council for Traditional Alternative and Complementary Medicine Practice in Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the meeting, 29th in the series for the year 2020 and 28th to be held virtually since the outbreak of COVID-19, the global health emergency. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Nia Debayo, had told the Council that although Nigeria signed the International Coffee Agreement in 2008, it only maintained an observer status in the organization following the non-ratification of its membership. Consequently, the country has not been getting the benefits derivable from the International Coffee Organization.
Now that Council has approved the ratification, some of the benefits that will come to the country would include allocation of coffee development projects. We'll have access to finance for our farmers, and all these things we feel are things that will assist to improve the yield of coffee in Nigeria. We'll be actively involved in creating policies that will improve the trade of coffee.
Nigeria presently has an estimated 1 million people involved in the coffee value chain across the country. The Minister of Environment, Muhammad Mahmoud, also announced the Council's approval for the establishment of the National Policy on Plastic Waste Management.
What this policy seeks to do is to seize the opportunity of our paradigm shift from linear economy to circular economy. The standard procedure in the past is you produce, you use, you dispose. We just realized that we cannot continue to do that. And plastic has lent itself to recycling, to reuse, to reduction even as the waste. And what this policy seeks to do is to capitalize on that property of it being reused. And it will also create a lot of jobs, a lot of wealth. So plastic may no longer be really a menace as far as waste is concerned if we can harness it and get it all together.
Already, plastic recycling plants have been established in the various states of the country.
What we want in the end is for the private sector to take control of this and do more, because there is a lot of this waste. Nigeria has a population of 200 million, and plastic waste is like the second in terms of quantity in total waste being produced in Nigeria today. With this plastic, you can recycle it by first of all reusing, and also you can melt it and produce new plastic. You can produce this day pellets that can be used and make interlocks, even blocks that you can build actual structures that you can use. Other countries are doing that. And that is the opportunity that we want to take with this policy to change the narratives. Apart from that, it also helped Nigeria in the fight against climate change.
A bill seeking the establishment of the Council for Traditional, Alternative and Complementary Medicine, also approved by the Council, is aimed at institutionalizing traditional medicine practice in the country.
The outbreak of COVID-19 has renewed the call for homegrown solutions to all these public health diseases, to find the value in our traditional medicines, and this is an opportunity with which traditional medicine practice can be not only upscaled but also regulated, because there are also areas of malpractice there which shall be checked. And we also provide for the possibility of training, setting up institutions, and also being able to research further, working with the Institute of Pharmaceutical Research of Nigeria to actually dig out the values that are in our traditional medicine where they can be used and used for research.
The bill for the establishment of Traditional, Alternative and Complementary Medicine Practitioners Council, the Health Minister explained, meets a lot of demands and serves various purposes, while provision is made for the protection of the intellectual property rights of those in the practice. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The new Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, has pledged unalloyed loyalty and support of the royal fathers in the state to President Muhammadu Buhari as he sustains genuine efforts at achieving greater future for Nigeria and Nigerians. The Emir stated this while speaking to NTA News shortly after he was granted audience by the President this evening. Once again, let's hear more from State House correspondent Adamu Sambo.
This is the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the new Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero. The monarch ascended the throne on the 9th of March this year following the deposition of Muhammadu Sanusi II by the Kano state government. He is here on what could best be described as a special honor of respect to President Muhammadu Buhari, whom he called a great leader. Their meeting, held behind closed doors, lasted about 30 minutes, after which the royal father spoke to NTA News.
My main reason of coming here is to pay homage, to ensure our loyalty to the government of the Federation and to the President.
The paramount ruler of Kano and chairman of the State Council of Chiefs also brought felicitations from Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje and other emirs from across Kano State.
We have always known how the government is performing. We always focus on praying for them to succeed, and where we have advice, we will certainly give advice appropriately where people will benefit and the nation at large will move forward.
Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero from the Fulani Sulubawa clan is the 15th Emir of Kano. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Well, the Emir actually paid the visit on Tuesday and not today. Let's look at more issues arising. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has enjoined protesting youths in the country to give peace a chance as they go about making their legitimate demand. Obasanjo, in a statement on Wednesday, October 21, disclosed that it was with heavy heart and a deep sense of concern about the going on in the country that he was making the appeal. In a statement which was made available to newsmen through his special assistant on media, Kende Akinyemi, the former president advised President Buhari to also restrain the military and other security agencies from using force, no matter the level of provocation. Chief Obasanjo therefore called on the aggrieved youths and the government to embrace dialogue as the country was at a critical moment now, hence the need for President to act. In the same vein, the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallen, is appealing to Nigerian youths to sheath their swords and give government time to address the issues raised by them. In her words, and I quote, "When things are not right, the citizens take to the street. When the citizens take to the street, the government is bound to listen. This government has listened and has heard your voices," end of quote. The minister, in a message to women and mothers, said, "What started as a beautiful campaign by the Nigerian Future a few weeks ago has been hijacked by mindless individuals and criminals with a different intent, hence calling on women who are life givers, cradle nurturers and pain soothers to call their children off the streets as the situation is no longer safe." Meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has extended the statewide curfew imposed on the state to stem the tide of growing violence by 3 days.
The governor, who said this during a live broadcast, also expressed regrets over the attack by soldiers on EndSARS protesters at Lekki Toll Gate, among other violence in the state, and apologized to residents for their actions. The governor further directed the constitution of a 5-man fact-finding committee into the rules of engagement ordered and adopted by the Nigerian Army to be headed by a retired military officer, not less than the rank of a general. According to him, the report will be presented to the president within 2 weeks.
I have directed further that we have an immediate suspension of all state activity for the next 3 days, except those that are connected with the governance of security in the state and the management of the current issue. I want to once again and passionately from the depth of my heart appeal to our teeming youths to our protestants that they should please give peace a chance. There have been several reported cases of arson, of destruction already this morning. I want to plead with parents. I want to appeal to guardians. I want to appeal to our citizens, especially our youth, that I am for you. I am with you. I feel the pain, and I understand that indeed you are not happy with what the turn of events had been last night.
Well, despite the 24-hour curfew imposed in Lagos, hoodlums have continued to perpetrate mayhem, looting and attacking the media and government agencies, as what was once a peaceful protest has taken a dangerous turn. Najatu Tijani tells us more.
Lagos, supposed to be on lockdown, is ablaze. The curfew imposed by the government seems not to have stopped hoodlums from wreaking mayhem. Viral social media footage shows the burning of vehicles at the Obo BRT bus station. The Nigerian Ports Authority, headquartered at Marina, is also said to have suffered the same fate. Neither is the media spared, as Television Continental, housing TVC News.
We're trying to get safe. Hoodlums have entered TVC and they're attacking. They've started attacking us inside the studio. I had to cut off the show and we couldn't go up. We can't continue the show right now.
Oriental Hotel are attacked by the arsonists. Meanwhile, Channels Television temporarily went off air to avoid any attacks on the station. Reports also say there was an attempted arson attack on Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's family home. While it isn't clear which groups are responsible for the arson, there are indications that insightful speeches on Twitter targeted at these organizations could be responsible. Meanwhile, military personnel were able to quell any disquiet without the use of force, further averting any disasters.
They are making it get worse. We know them. So that we can get those ones off the streets. We know the honest protesters. But this thing has been hijacked. There are some bad elements among you people that are now bombing places and doing things, killing policemen. We are here. We are not here to kill anybody. We are here to protect you. We are here to protect lives and property.
Lagos and every other places. The future is ours. Yes. The future is yours. Yes. But we cannot take the future by doing this. It's understood. You understand? Yes. If they slap your brother, you go vex. Let us try as much as possible to ourselves. Gentlemen, let's calm down.
All right, let's go on a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Demands of #EndSARS movement. Immediate release of all arrested protesters. Justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families. Setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. In line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and property of citizens. Federal government's response. On 11th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police dissolved the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory. On October 12th, President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation, stating the disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reforms. On 13th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police ordered all defunct SARS personnel to report at Force Headquarters, Abuja, for debriefing as well as psychological and medical examination. On 13th October 2020, the Presidential Panel on the Reform of SARS accepted the 5-point demand of the hashtag EndSARS protesters. On 15th October 2020, the National Economic Council, NEC, directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality, related extrajudicial killings with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units. State governors should immediately establish state-based special security and human rights committees to be chaired by governors in their state and to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. This will ensure the protection of citizens' human rights. Members will also include representatives of youth and civil society, as well as head of police tactical units in each of the states.
Issa too like football on top Go TV, so him forget say him be best man for him party wedding. Amaka disappoint her bobo all because of football. Kola and the family supposed come out, but then gas change plans because for this new football season, Go TV get correct football action will make sense. Get Go TV decoder, we come with 1 month Go TV Max subscription for only 9,500 naira. Go TV, live it, love it.
Thanks for staying tuned. In line with the National Human Rights Commission's mandate and in response to the nationwide agitation by some Nigerian youth groups, the Commission has constituted an 11-man independent investigative panel to look into allegations of human rights violations against the defunct SARS and other units of the force. Omenka Marachuku reports that the committee is headed by retired Supreme Court Justice Suleiman Galadima.
For a few days now, youths across the country trooped out in various cities of Nigeria to protest against the special federal anti-robbery squad and police brutality among youths. Though the government have made several pronouncements on these burning issues, but the protests continue to persist in some parts of the country. In recognition of this, National Human Rights Commission set up an investigative panel that will look into petitions, complaints and memoranda from the 36 states of the Federation, including FCT, and make recommendation to the government on how best to reform SARS and other units of the police force.
I emphasize and solicit for the cooperation of all stakeholders and assistance of you members of the fourth realm, so the fourth estate of the realm. We also plead with aggrieved parties to sheet their words short. I can see a successful outcome of this exercise. It's not beyond the realm of possibility.
The Independent Investigation Panel, which have started work, has a period of 6 months to submit its report. In Abuja, Omenka Marachuku, NTA News.
And to talk more on the investigative panel is the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Ojukwu.
Thank you.
All right, now going by the recent violent dimension of the EndSARS protests we have seen, do you think the time lag will be enough for the investigative panel?
Exactly. The time of 6 months is okay in the sense that action is going on in the whole 36 states at the same time. Investigations are going on in the whole 36 states by the state panels of investigation, state panels of inquiry, and the panel at Abuja here will cover the Federal Capital Territory, and if there are some other states that could not set up the panel will also look at complaints from those states. So I believe 6 months should be enough for the panels to finish their work, and the National Human Rights Commission will collate the entire reports from all the states and make recommendations to the federal government.
Okay, so how will the committee ensure implementation of the recommendations of this kind of panel? You know, it's usually a problem when we talk about implementation. Now, will this one be different at the end of the day?
Yes, of course, this will be different in the sense that because of the recent events, I don't think Nigeria will ever be the same again. Everybody is going to be proactive. We are going to make sure that we don't keep quiet. We are going to make sure that we interact with all the relevant authorities. And the government has committed to ensuring that recommendations of the Commission will be adhered to, that all these panels that are being set up, they will implement the recommendations. And the Commission can also invoke its powers, which makes our recommendations binding. And such recommendations can be registered in the High Court or the Federal High Court and made enforceable as a decision of a court. So I have the firm belief that considering the circumstances under which this very particular investigation is going on, it will be implemented.
Okay, just out of curiosity, how will the collation of the submissions be done?
The submissions, of course, we have published memoranda, we have published call for memoranda for members of the public to articulate their complaints and submit to the Commission, where the National Human Rights Commission is also collaborating with the Nigerian Bar Association to get lawyers so that they can help members of the public who have need for that to articulate their petition, and if possible also represent the members of the public in the various panels to present their complaints. And of course, at the end of the hearings, there's members of the National Human Rights Commission in all the state panels of inquiry. And there will be collaboration between the state panels of inquiry and the independent investigation panel here by the Commission in Abuja. And at the end of the day, all the reports of the various panels will be collated. One report will be submitted to the federal government and with recommendations, and we believe the federal government will act on the report because this is a unanimous decision of the National Economic Council, which the government itself has decided to set up, and I believe the government will act on its own decision.
Okay, Mr. Ojukwu, very briefly now, we want to hear what's your take on what happened last night at Lekki Tollgate in Lagos as it concerns violation of human rights?
The incident of last night is really and is indeed a very sad day for Nigeria. It is condemnable, and it is a sad thing that after all the efforts at this peaceful protest, it has ended up in this way. But the Commission has issued a statement this morning, and our stand on the matter is that the only thing that can satisfy us, the only thing that can satisfy the Commission is to hold the officers who carried out operations, the people who directed them from wherever those orders were gotten, to use live ammunition on peaceful protesters. Those protesters were peaceful. There was no violence at Lekki when the army officers opened fire on the protesters. They must be held accountable. We have directed that there must be immediate investigation by the army authorities to find out the officers who carried out those operations, and those officers must be held accountable in a public way so that Nigerians will know, so that Nigerians will be satisfied. And we demand that that should be done immediately to satisfy the Commission that those officers have been held accountable.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ojukwu, for your contribution. Thank you. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's look at pressing issues arising from COVID-19. European Union leaders to hold COVID-19 video conference to fashion ways of tackling the pandemic. Just as South Africa faces a high risk of surging coronavirus cases that may force the country back into lockdown. Joyce Ametu brings us details.
Coronavirus is continuing its spread across the world with 41,189,939 confirmed cases and 1,131,527 deaths registered on the Johns Hopkins coronavirus database as at 6 p.m. Nigeria time. The African Centers for Disease Control reports 1,676,301 cases, 40,326 fatalities, and 1,377,730 recoveries. In Nigeria, data about the Center for Disease Control shows 61,630 confirmed cases, 56,798 discharged, and 1,125 deaths. As infections rise, European Union leaders will hold a video conference to discuss how to better cooperate against the COVID-19 pandemic. Officials say the video conference, to be held on 29th October, will be the first of a series of regular discussions that EU leaders have organized to tackle the pandemic. Meanwhile, more French cities are to enter red alert status amid the coronavirus pandemic, which means they will have to impose curfews. Spokesman Gabriel Attal told the news conference that the government was proposing an extension of a state of emergency to 16th of February. In Italy, Lombardy, the Italian region hardest hit in the coronavirus first wave, has registered a record of 4,126 new COVID-19 infections in 24 hours, its highest daily figure since the pandemic began. And a report from South Africa's health ministry says the country faces a high risk of surging coronavirus cases that may force the country back into a stricter lockdown. Zweli Nkize said in a statement that the increase in infections and deaths will inform the recommendations that the health departments make to the National Coronavirus Council, the body that decides lockdown levels. And that's a global update on COVID-19. I am Joyce Umetu.
And just before we go, let's have a quick check on Thursday's weather prospect. That's the news. We do appreciate your company. Remember to connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.